mind is like a recording machine. Like a recording, it's like a video camera, constantly recording. Whether we're in wakefulness or sleep, it still records. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't say, I like this, I'm going to move towards this. I dislike this, I'm going to reject this. It just absorbs everything indiscriminately. So that's actually your karma. What do we call karma? If I were to put it simply, all the impressions of past memories which are having an influence on the present moment. So if you have had memories in life which have strengthened, let's say, your desire for sex, you'll tend to gravitate in that direction. If you've had memories in life which have, let's say, why is it people are stressful? This is very unfortunate today. In the World Health Organization is saying that health, compared to any other physical ailment, the stress is the #1 health epidemic today in the world. So how does somebody become stressful like that? Nobody is born just stressful. Of course, we're born crying and screaming, but that's just temporary. How does it come that you are chronically all the time in a state of stress? How does this happen? First, few glimpses of fear, few glimpses of anxiety. Once these experiences become strengthened again and again and again, what happens is the physical system itself reorganizes itself so that now you become conditioned to be stressful. So if you become conditioned to be stressful, regardless of whatever kind of situation you'll be in, you will be stressful. So one part of spiritual process means is you're assuming total responsibility for your own well-being. That's the problem. We've not assumed total responsibility for our own well-being. What's happening in the outside world, definitely we cannot have 100% control over. What's happening in millions of other people's minds, that too is not in our hands. But here's something about, I want you to understand the basis of our perception. So, there's some vibration, a sound from the outside. The eyes see something, the nose smells something, the tongue tastes something. Some vibration. If you're looking at a tree, if it's not looking at the tree, perhaps the thought of the tree, some vibration. So this vibration is carried in by the nerves of the body, presented to the brain, and then there's a reaction. What will be that reaction? Just whatever is your conditioning. If you're conditioned to be stressful, you'll be stressful. If it's fear, fear will arise. Anger will arise. Those first two steps we don't really have much control over. But then there's the third step, which is essential. After the reaction, there is a response of the mind to the reaction. So fear is arising. Do I become identified with the experience? Do I become attached? No longer point the finger and say, I am like this because I had rotten parents when I had an unfortunate upbringing. Or have you seen the people I have to deal with on a daily basis? You can no longer create these kinds of excuses because you understand very well your own happiness and your own misery, it's all your own creation. So I'm reminded of a student. He came to me with a study that was done on London taxi drivers. Has anybody visited London? Yeah. So are you familiar with the roads there? How complex they are? They're insane. It's such a complex system of roads they have there. So to be certified to be a London taxi driver, they have to go, the people who go through the test, they have to go through 4 years of grinding training. They have to memorize all the roads and networks on the street. And then besides that, they have to show their practical knowledge driving down the London streets. So that's why in London it's called the test. Not any test, the test. So there was a study that was done on the brains of these London taxi drivers. And what they found was there's an area of the brain called the hippocampus, which is responsible for memory, your ability to move through space. This hippocampus of the brain was much larger than the average person. And that's just what? Just the direct experience, driving down the London streets. So there was a very old understanding in brain science that all the networks and the structure of the brain is like stamped. Stamped at the moment of birth, they cannot be changed. Now we know it's very much flexible. So when we talk about spiritual process, since anyway you're creating your own well-being, we're just talking about a conscious approach. So at any point in our life, these are the two roads available to us. Either we can respond to the moment consciously or unconsciously.